ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. We welcome you here to Thunder Valley, they call it, Bristol International Raceway in Bristol, Tennessee, for today's Busch Grand National Series race, the Budweiser 250. It is a beautiful day here in Tennessee, but it has rained the past 2 days. But today, no chance of rain, calm winds, clear skies, and a great day for racing. But because of the rains the past couple of days, the cars did not get a chance to qualify. They will line them up here on the track as you see them warming up now, according to driver point standings. And the young man who will start on the pole has never raced here before. 25-year-old Bobby Labonte will take the green flag from the point. He is flanked by the veteran Jimmy Hensley from Horse Pasture, Virginia. Back to row two, a couple of veteran drivers, Chuck Bound, who runs real well on the short tracks, and a young man who's having his best season ever in Busch Series competition, Elton Sawyer. Back to row three, the man who has had the hot hand on the short tracks, having won at Martinsville and Hickory, is Tommy Houston, and he is flanked by last year's Rookie of the Year, young Kenny Wallace. Row four, 1988 Series champion Tommy Ellis, and a man who grew up on the short tracks just outside of Pittsburgh, driving car number 96 is Tom Peck. We'll take a look here at the rest of the field as they are winding their way, getting the cars up to speed. And starting inside row five is Dale Jarrett along with Jeff Burton. The rest of the field, there are 30 cars starting. And Ned, it's always an exciting show here at Bristol, Tennessee.
Well, it certainly is, Jerry, and it could be even more exciting this afternoon because they put a sealer on this track a few weeks ago. There has not been enough running on it to really get a good groove worked out. They missed practice all day yesterday, so I think the track is going to be very slick. It could be a one-groove racetrack. How about it, Benny Parsons?
Jarrett, you're exactly right. It is a one-groove racetrack. I don't know how in the world the guys on the outside are going to get into the groove. I asked Jimmy Hensley, who started an outside pole. He said, well, I'm just going to wait till I get to the first corner and see what the racetrack has given me. I asked Jeff Burton, who's starting back in 10th spot, how he's going to get to the inside. How is the racetrack out there? He said, oh, it's no problem. It's okay out there. As an afterthought, he said, I hope.
Yeah.
Should be an interesting day here in Bristol, Tennessee. We talked to Tommy Houston, who really has got maybe more experience on this track than many of the drivers in the field. Tommy said if you're going to pass somebody, you may have to put those left side tires down on the inside of the track apron, but you got to be careful. If you get them hooked too low, you'll end up coming across the track with a face full of concrete. We go inside now into Kyle Petty's car, the Ames Department Store in-car camera. You'll be looking inside Kyle's car all afternoon, and it may be a little different viewpoint than what you're accustomed to seeing because these 36-degree bankings are some 3.5 to 4 stories high, Ned.
And Kyle will be starting in the 24th position, so I think he'll give us some great pictures back there.
A pair of Oldsmobiles up front as we're getting ready for the green flag here for this Budweiser 250. 250 laps here on the half-mile track at Bristol International Raceway. Bobby Scruggs holding him down, ready for the green flag. Coming out of turn 4, and the green is waving as they head for turn 1. Jimmy Hensley, like he shot out of a cannon out of turn 2, pulls some 4 car lengths on Bobby Labonte. Chuck Bound slipping and sliding, nearly getting the car sideways. He gathers it back in out of turn 2.
And there's trouble over going into turn 3. Jeff Burton, car number 12, has hit the outside wall. It looks like everybody else gets by. We see one other car, Patty Luis, the car number 45, going slowly down the inside of the track.
Jeff Burton had such a great run a week ago at Darlington Raceway and ran in the top 5 throughout the afternoon. Had a great finish, his best of this year. And he has tagged the wall pretty hard in turn 3. Now, early in the race, Ned, it looks like these cars getting side by side on the start. Someone's got to be caught on the outside where it's a little slicker.
Well, Jeff was on the outside. He and Dale Jarrett were running side by side there for the first couple of laps, and Jeff was doing a good job up there on the outside until this happened.
We are early here in the Budweiser 250. We are under the caution here for the spin by Jeff Burton up in turn 3. Lots of laps to come your way. Stay tuned for more Busch racing after this.
The Ford Thunderbird. A perfect car for a nice Sunday drive.
Now get 6.9 financing for up to 48 months or $1,500 cash bonus on Ford Thunderbird.
You know, it's hard to beat Craftsman quality, no matter how much ground you have to cover.
Like this Craftsman 12-horsepower tractor with Briggs & Stratton industrial engine, now just $999.
And there's only one place to get it, Sears.
Introducing new extra-strength Rolaids, 250 milligrams stronger than Tums EX, 1,000 milligrams of fast relief. This settles it, once and for all.
We welcome you back to Bristol International Raceway, the scene of today's running of the Budweiser 250. Early on here, Jimmy Hensley leads the way. Bobby Labonte, Chuck Bound, and Kenny Wallace, along with Elton Sawyer, in the top 5. Today's Speed World coverage of the Budweiser 250 brought to you by Quaker State. The big Q is One Tough Motor Oil. By Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Purelator, the world's largest filter company. Purelator. The pace car pulling off in turn 3, Ned Jarrett, and we are about to go green flag racing once again.
Of course, the caution came out when Jeff Burton spurned going into turn 2. Dale Jarrett apparently involved. He had a flat tire, came in. He's at the back of the field. Patty Moise also hit the inside retaining wall.
And Dave Resendez's car had some damage as well. He made a quick unscheduled stop. We are back to green flag racing. Jimmy Hensley, the veteran driver, 42 years of age, pulling away very easily out of turn 2, some 3 car lengths. Now, Bobby Labonte's got to be taking his time early on here, Ned. He's never raced here before.
Yeah, and he spun this morning in practice, so that will make him even a little bit more cautious. And of course, with the point damage, he wants to be as careful as he possibly can.
Chuck Bound in the car number 63, now trying to work over Bobby Labonte. There's the battle as Hensley now pulling away. Chuck Bound, that car runs awfully well on the short tracks. That's the same race car they used to sit on the pole a few weeks ago up at Hickory Speedway. Now he bobs a little bit getting underneath Bobby Labonte, forcing Labonte up out of the groove.
Well, that's going to cost him too, Jerry. It cost him 2 positions right there, and he was fortunate to be able to get back down on the inside groove and not lose any more.
It is single file racing here early on. A lot of drivers really realizing they must stay on the bottom of the racetrack. As you heard Benny Parsons say at the opening of the show, it is going to really get slippery early on if you get out of that inside groove.
I think the groove will work up as the race goes on. This is a longer race than they normally run. It's extended to 250 laps this year as opposed to 200 in the past.
There's Kyle Petty getting to the left of your screen, the Ames Department Store Pontiac. But he is starting way back in the field at 24th spot. Remember, they started according to driver point standings. And now Kenny Wallace's car is slowing, and he will come down pit road here in the front straightaway. Unscheduled stop for Kenny Wallace.
Well, we'll see what the Rookie of the Year of 1989 apparently has a tire going down, Jared. They're changing the right side tires on the Cox-treated lumber Pontiac of Kenny Wallace. Boy, this will cost him. It's impossible to make a pit stop here and not lose at least 1 lap.
Well, he now goes 1 lap down. He was running in 3rd spot, and they have good pit work here. But on this track with the quick laps here, he will lose at least 1 lap. Now challenge for the 2nd spot, actually the 3rd spot, as Elton Sawyer now moves underneath the Bobby Labonte car. Labonte sliding high. Tommy Houston makes the move. And now Tom Peck. A good run for Peck now as he slides beneath Labonte heading for turn 1.
Labonte's car doesn't seem to be working too well in the turns, Jerry. You can see him. He slides up going in, and then he can't get on the gas strong enough coming off the turns. And there's some trouble over in turn 2.
That is Clifford Allison, who has spun and tagged the wall. He has the car going, but heavy damage on the left front of his Frank Cece Racing Buick. And we are under caution here once again. Car number 34. Bobby Allison's youngest. So there's a look at Clifford Allison, who has spun and tagged the wall. His first start also here at Bristol, Tennessee. And this track will reach out and bite you. The car just getting loose off of turn 2. And he tagged the wall with the front end. A lot of smoke now coming from the sheet metal. That is against the left front tires. We are under caution here again at Bristol International Raceway early on in the Budweiser 250. Stand by. A lot of racing to come your way.
Now there's no reason to miss your favorite racing on TV. Racetime magazine each month provides the only complete and accurate TV listings of all motorsports, racing, and special features. Network, cable, or satellite. If it's racing on TV, you'll find it listed in Racetime. Racetime is not available on newsstands, so catch all the racing action by subscribing now. Call 1-800-RACES-TV. That's 1-800-RACES-TV. Why miss another race? Call now. Call
Call now and you can have 13 weeks of the Wall Street Journal and this valuable 120-page guide to understanding money and markets. That's 13 weeks of the Journal for the news and ideas you need every business day. And this guide free, which tells you everything you want to know about money and markets, now for only $34. Call toll-free 800-832-8700. Today's Wall Street Journal. Faster, tougher, smarter. Call 800-832-8700 now.
You know it's hard to beat Craftsman quality, no matter how much ground you have to cover.
Like this Craftsman 12-horsepower tractor with Briggs & Stratton industrial engine, now just $999.
And there's only one place to get it, Sears.
Back at Bristol International Raceway for this Busch Series competition, the Budweiser 250. Still early on here in this event. Jimmy Hensley showing the way, being chased by Chuck Bound, Tommy Houston, Tom Peck, and now Dale Earnhardt showing in the top 5. The car you see to the outside of Hensley, that is Kenny Wallace, who has made an unscheduled stop just moments ago as we're getting ready to go back to green. Green flag racing here at Bristol, Tennessee on lap number 39. Now Wallace trying to get that lap back, but Hensley pulls away, and now Chuck Bound pulls to the inside. Let's find out what the unscheduled stop for was on Kenny Wallace, Benny Parsons.
Jerry Punch, you know, when these guys weave the car back and forth at the beginning of the race and on the caution flag, evidently Kenny Wallace did not do that well enough because he felt like he had a flat tire. All he had was buildup on the tire. Cost him a lap to find out.
Benny was standing by when Kenny Wallace made that pit stop, and Kenny's older brother Rusty Wallace in the pits orchestrating action, but now Kenny's car still drifting back in the pack as he is having difficulty keeping the car in tow. You're taking a look there at Dale Earnhardt. He is the black car number 3 who started toward the rear of the field, now being shown in the 5th position. They are chasing Jimmy Hensley. There is Earnhardt just behind the Tom Peck car. Tom Peck is the blue car with the white number 96 on the side. Earnhardt now beginning to make a move inside of Peck. Good run for Tom Peck. He's 36 years of age. Grew up really running the dirt late models of Hagerstown, Maryland, up in Williams Grove, Pennsylvania. He is from McConnellsburg, Pennsylvania. And now he's holding off the 3-time Winston Cup champion, Dale Earnhardt. Let's take a look back in the pack. They're really mixing it up back. And there is Bobby Labonte, the current point leader, and Dale Jarrett, who made an unscheduled stop early on, Ned, for some problems.
Yes, he had a right rear tire flat during one of the caution periods. He is still in the lead lap. And just a moment ago, he passed the Joe Nemechek car on the outside, Jerry. I couldn't believe that this early in the race that we'd see somebody pass on the outside, but Jarrett did it. Now he's trying to go on the inside of Bobby Labonte.
Bobby Labonte was the pole sitter when we started just a little bit ago because of the point standings, but he has never run here at Bristol, Tennessee, so he has been warned by his father and crew chief Bob Labonte to take it very easy at tiptoe here early on. And now Dale Jarrett trying to make a move inside. He is currently being shown in the 15th position, trying to take 14th away from Bobby Labonte, and he will do it coming out of turn 4.
And Mark Martin will follow him right down on the inside. Once Labonte went high, gave Jarrett and Mark Martin the opening they needed, so they moved on around.
Mark Martin now being shown back in 15th spot. Now back up front, the lead tour. 2 cars. Jimmy Hensley showing the way, 42-year-old driver from Horse Pasture, Virginia, looking for his first Busch Series win of the year. And Chuck Bound in the car number 63. That's the car we said set on the pole at Hickory Speedway a few weeks ago. Had a great run up there to come home finishing in 3rd spot.
And look there at Tommy Houston running in 3rd place, Jerry. And you mentioned at the top of the show, he has had the hot hand on the short tracks. Michael Waltrip's car got loose coming off of turn 4, but he saved it. But he has a fellow, this man we're watching there, Jimmy Hensley, is a super short track driver himself. Here's Tommy Houston in the Rosie Store Buick, number 6, in 3rd place.
And Tommy Houston realizes this man back here in the car number 3, who is his uncle by marriage, Dale Earnhardt, now trying to work over an impressive run by young Tom Peck. There's L.D. Ottinger, 2-time series champion, Ronald Earnhardt's rear bumper, and Earnhardt trying to get down to the inside. Very little passing, with the exception maybe of Dale Jarrett a moment ago. Very little passing has been done on the outside, Ned.
That's true. Earnhardt thought he had an opening right there, but Peck closed the door on him. I'll tell you, he's not being intimidated by Earnhardt. He's doing a great job staying in front of him.
Well, you can't intimidate many people who have grown up running the short tracks up around Hagerstown or Williams Grove. I mean, those tracks are intimidating themselves, so he's got to feel pretty good coming to a track like Bristol, which reminds him of his roots up there, and Tom Peck doing a great job.
Earnhardt has L.D. Ottinger, the car number 2, on his back bumper. L.D. lives in Newport, Tennessee, not too far from Bristol. So he has a lot of fans here rooting for him.
This is LD's home track, as you said, that he grew up running the late model Sportsman Series here for many years prior to the Touring Series concept, which started for Busch Racing about 9 years ago. So it's probably his favorite racetrack for many, many years. So LD, no stranger to running well here at Bristol.
Finished second here in August last year, so he certainly knows how to get around it.
Now Earnhardt will make a move inside of Peck. Peck's car slipping up a little bit in the backstretch, but now he pulls him using a lot of horsepower.
And there's trouble on turn 2. Once again, it's Elton Sawyer in car number 27. And the field slows down. Some go on the inside. Now all of them going on the outside as Elton backs down against the inside retaining wall. A lot of damage to the front end of his car number 27.
Hard contact for Elton Sawyer, who was currently 4th in the point standings, has really tagged the wall hard coming out of turn 2. His car now rolling his Buick, headed back to pit road, as they have had another caution flag here. The track really taking its toll here early on in the Budweiser 250. We are in the early laps here. Jimmy Hensley showing the way. Stay tuned. A lot more racing action coming your way.
It's every cowboy's worst nightmare. And when the worst is over, you head for the beer that goes down smooth as a mountain stream. Busch.
Does anybody want to start the campfire?
Head for the mountains of Busch beer.
What could a sleek Jaguar have in common with a fat cat that a dashing deer has in common with a nimble ram and a big bad bulldog has in common with a cute little rabbit? The same quality filter protection you can give whatever animal it is you drive. From Purolator, the world's largest filter company.
People use all kinds of sophisticated machines to raise their heart rate. We'd like to recommend another one. The pulse-quickening technology of Ford Probe. It'll get your motor running.
Now get 6.9 financing for up to 48 months plus $750 cash bonus on Ford Probe.
You know, it's hard to beat Craftsman quality, no matter how much ground you have to cover.
Like this Craftsman 12 horsepower tractor with Briggs & Stratton industrial engine, now just $999.
And there's only one place to get it, Sears.
Back at Bristol International Raceway, top 5, Jimmy Hensley showing the way. Chuck Bound, Dale Earnhardt now in 3rd spot, Tom Peck, and LD Ottinger, the veteran driver. We are back to green flag racing. And Hensley now trying to hold off the charge of Rick Mast in car number 22. And Mast is a lap down as a result of an unscheduled stop early on. And he can get that lap back if he can just get by Hensley. Good run for Mast.
Well, he has a little fresher tires on than does Jimmy Hensley, and he does get back in front of Jimmy Hensley. So he is back in the lead lap, running in the 21st position. So now 21 cars in the lead lap.
And Jimmy Hensley's car getting up out of the groove, and that's what happens, I guess, if you get up high, Ned.
Yes, it does, and it's cost him about 4 or 5 positions. Now, Chuck Bowen has taken over the lead. Earnhardt moves into 2nd. LD Ottinger 3rd. 4th, Kyle Petty, and Hensley drops all the way to 5th place.
Outside, not the quick way around here. It's still quite slippery up there. They have not been able to get that much rubber up on the outside of the racetrack.
Now let's take a look at Tom Peck in that car number 96. He's had Dale Earnhardt behind him most of the race. Earnhardt finally got by. Now he has another Winston Cup driver, Michael Waltrip, in the car number 30. Dogging him. Now Waltrip has passed a couple of cars on the outside, Jerry. Don't know if he can pass Tom Peck on the outside, but in his move up from way back in the field, Michael Waltrip started 28th position, so he has moved up towards the front.
And he is now in 7th spot as Michael Waltrip in the car number 30, and he is trying to make that move and take 6th spot away from Tom Peck. There's Michael Waltrip. New paint scheme for that car. We said that's the Country Time Kool-Aid car. The car that won up in Richmond early in the year, set on the pole and won up there. The same car they used last year, went up in Indianapolis Raceway Park. On the half-mile track up there and trying to make a move on the outside, and that's not the place to get that move made.
Not in turn 2. We've already seen some trouble over there in turn 2, and just didn't work for him that time.
Well, he's sponsor said they wanted to be able to promote the wild and wacky Kool-Aid man, and I guarantee you that's pretty wild and wacky to make that move on the outside for Michael Walker. Leader now back up front, and they are trying to run down the lap car. Now that's the car number 22 of Rick Mast that hasn't lapped himself, and Chuck Bound has two concerns. He has the lap car of Rick Mast in front of him, and he has the Darth Vader of Winston Cup and now Busch Series Racing behind him. And Earnhardt looking for a groove, and now Chuck Bound moves beneath Rick Mast, and Earnhardt follows him by.
You see Earnhardt just going high and low, and you'll see him do that behind Chuck Bound. Now, he does that to intimidate you, and it will intimidate you also.
Kyle Petty now making his move into the top 5, and there is Chuck Bound and Dale Earnhardt, the front two cars. L.D. Ottinger, good run for the veteran driver from Newport, Tennessee. The car number 2 is Ottinger, and back there, the car number 42, just behind Ottinger, is Kyle Petty. He is now 4th. He started back in the 24th position. Let's check in on the problem with possibly Jimmy Hensley's backsliding to the field. Let's check in with Benny Parsons.
Jerry Punch, I went down and talked to Bobby King, the crew chief. He said he simply got too high in turn 2, was afraid to really push the car because he might spin out, and just backed up a few positions. The 7 car driven by Rick Wilson, they replaced Mary again. The engine quit. He's through for the day.
Tough break for the Ed Whitaker team. You saw a minute ago that Hensley did indeed just barely scrape that outside wall, getting the car up sideways a little bit. And now Earnhardt trying it on the outside out of turn 2, trying to be able to out-muscle Chuck Bound, but Chuck Bound very strong, and now they stack them too wide in turn 3. Ottinger just tagging the inside of Earnhardt. Earnhardt gathers it back in, and they are door-to-door in turn 1.
Well, that's a gutsy move, but Earnhardt's car seems to be working, and he makes the pass. Now Jimmy Hensley in the back of that pack there is beginning to move back up after dropping back into the 5th position. He has them all in sight.
Take a look at Kyle Petty's progression here. He started back in 24th spot. At lap 25, he was 16th. He was in the top 10 by lap 50. Currently being shown in the 4th spot here on lap number 85. So a great progression for Kyle Petty, driving the Ames Department Store Pontiac here. They are chasing Dale Earnhardt. Young driver Chuck Bound, former Winston West champion back in 1976, running in 2nd spot. The veteran L.D. Ottinger is 3rd, and Kyle Petty, you just saw, coming from back in the field to run in 4th spot.
That car has run very well for him in a number of races this year, Jerry, particularly at Rockingham, the 3rd race of the season, and also at Richmond, the 2nd race of the season.
Here's a look back into the pack for the battle between the car number 96 of Tom Peck and Michael Waltrip on the inside. That's the lap car now of Rick Mast, a brand new race car for Rick Mast. They are trying to get the car dialed in, as we got a battle up front now, as that is Kyle Petty now going around the L.D. Ottinger car.
And he did it on the outside, so that outside groove now beginning to work in. Look, he's going to try to Chuck Bound on the outside. Makes the pass with ease. So that groove up there maybe is not quite as bad as they thought it was, Jerry, or maybe just the running that they've done up to this point has worked a little bit of rubber in that groove, and now they're able to pass it.
So Kyle Petty now moving in on Dale Earnhardt. A great job by Jerry Kennan and the crew to get Kyle Petty's car dialed in.
Benny, what do you think about that second groove that they're able to pass on now?
Ned, I think enough cars have spun out up there that they've got all kinds of rubber up there. We've seen 2 or 3 spin outs. Yeah, it is getting rubber up there. The guys are going up and they're doing a great job. And the Winston Cup guys, they're loving this. Look, Kyle Petty in the lead.
Moves right around Dale Earnhardt up on the outside and says goodbye, Dale.
He didn't even wave on the way by, Ned. He just went by with ease. I mean, made it look simple out there, but Kyle Petty has really got this car dialed in.
It is working, no question about it, and he's driving the wheels off of it. Earnhardt's car, don't believe is working quite as good, Jerry, as he would like for it to. You see him slip up a little bit there. L.D. Ottinger had a notion to try to go under him, but he couldn't quite make it. Here comes Mark Martin in car number 1, trying to move on the inside of Tom Peck.
And the car number 30 of Michael Waltrip has just passed Tom Peck, and Peck is trying to hang on as Mark Martin, the car that won here back last August in that Ford, the Carolina Ford dealer's car out of the Bill Davis stable. He's trying to make a move inside of Tom Peck.
They're battling for the 6th and 7th positions.
Michael Waltrip making his way back toward the front, and there's the man they're chasing right now, Kyle Petty. Kyle Petty looking for his first win of the year. This car finished 2nd at Rockingham, but it is currently leading here in the Budweiser 250. Stay tuned. A lot of racing action to come your way.
Ford trucks. Take one for a nice, quiet ride in the country.
You know, it's hard to beat Craftsman quality, no matter how much ground you have to cover.
Like this Craftsman 12-horsepower tractor with Briggs & Stratton industrial engine, now just $999.
And there's only one place to get it, Sears.
This April, you'll laugh, cry, scream, and cheer. That's because April is National Cable Month, featuring the best in cable programming. And to celebrate, Pizza Hut presents the new Grand Pan Pizza, a never-before combination of 10 great toppings. But it's only available for a limited time. And right now, you can get one for $9.99, or a second for just $4 more. So while you're enjoying cable's best, you can also enjoy our best.
Pizza Hut, making it great.
Track Facts are brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
Often during the run of a stock car race, a driver calls in and reports to the crew on the radio, I have a slight vibration. Sometimes it's simply a weight is thrown off a wheel. Here's what happens when Goodyear mounts the tires. They're brought up to Jerry Stepp, who puts them on the wheel balancer. He spins the tire and finds out how much weight needs to be put on the wheel to put it in balance. Once he determines this, he hammers on the weights, checks the tire again to make sure it's in balance. If it is, gives it to the teams, they put it on the car. If a weight does come off and causes a slight vibration, as soon as the crew changes 4 tires, the vibration goes away.
One driver who's not having any problems or vibrations at all is Kyle Petty, who's showing the way here, followed by the veteran LD Ottinger, Dale Earnhardt, Michael Waltrip, and Martin Martin now enters the top 5. 6 through 10, Jimmy Hensley, who had a great run early on, Chuck Bound, Tom Peck, Dale Jarrett now being shown back in the top 10, and Bobby Hamilton. And there is Kyle Petty now working over the Robert Presley car. The groove moving up a little bit, Ned.
Yes, it is moving up, and we continue to see cars pass on the outside, and Kyle Petty was one of those. He passed the leaders on the outside, so he has no problem when he catches traffic passing them on the outside.
Then how can one car suddenly just come out of the pack like Kyle Petty and be just so hooked up here at the short track?
Well, I think whoever sets that car up, Jerry Kennan or whoever it is, did a masterful job in setting that car up for the racetrack today.
Let's check in with Benny Parsons and see exactly maybe what have they done to that car, Benny?
Jerry Kennan, what in the world have you done to Kyle Petty's automobile to make it run so fast?
Well, he had to start some more in the back. I just told him to start running hard and don't let up. He ain't let up yet.
But this racetrack is extremely slick. We kept talking about how slick it is, but yet he's able to pass the wheel. Is that a car or just Kyle taking some chances?
It's a combination. I had a lot of notes when the racetrack was sealed before, and that Ames Pontiac is hooking up good today.
Okay, buddy, good luck.
Jerry Kennan deserves a lot of credit. He was the crew chief when Sam Ard won here, and when Ard won 2 series championships in the Busch Series competition. But right now, the battle heating up back for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place. Now, LD Ottinger, the veteran driver, it is his hometown track. He is from nearby Newport, Tennessee. He is trying to fend off Dale Earnhardt in the car number 3. Michael Waltrip also sitting back there has got a great seat for that battle. And now Michael says, well, you couldn't make it. Maybe I'll take a shot at him. Michael Waltrip makes the move in turn 1, but Earnhardt and he both slide up into the outside group. Michael Waltrip will be carrying our in-car camera tomorrow here at Bristol International Raceway, the Maxwell House in-car camera aboard that Bahari Racing Pontiac.
Jared, they just got the halfway point of this Budweiser 250, and Kyle Petty trying to lap the 11th place car of Robert Presley. Here's Earnhardt going around LD Ottinger, taking over the 2nd place. But right now, only 11 cars in the lead lap. And here goes Michael Waltrip down on the inside of Ottinger.
But there is lap traffic there. That is the Dana Patton car. But now Michael Waltrip able to get by as Ottinger realizing that they cannot go too wide there in turn 2. Ottinger was the 2nd place car, and that now belongs to Dale Earnhardt in the car number 3. Earnhardt is 2nd, Michael Waltrip is 3rd. Ottinger now back to 4th spot. And there is LD Ottinger looking at his short track results. His best finish in the short tracks this year coming at Hickory Speedway, where he finished in 12th position.
A couple of cars had made pit stops earlier and taken on 4 tires, Tommy Houston and Tommy Ellis, Jerry, but both of those cars have been lapped, and that was a little surprising that they did get lapped after putting on 4 new tires, but that's just an indication of the pace that Kyle Petty is setting. We're looking at Mark Martin, who has made a masterful run from the rear of the pack. He made a pit stop early in this race, so he came from the back, now running in 5th place in that Carolina Ford number 1.
That's the Bill Davis-owned car, and the car that won here at Bristol last August on ESPN. He finished second in this race last spring. That car really handles the high banks here at Bristol very well. Moving around the damaged car of Clifford Allison. Let's take a look at Mark's progression. He, of course, started 29th, was 14th, then 8th at 100 laps, now being shown in 5th position. Let's check in. They got to be pretty proud of this young man. He's done a great job early on here, Benny Parsons.
Bill Davis, the car earlier had some problems, but it's running awfully good now. What did you do on the pit stop?
We had a flat tire when the race started. That's what happened. The longer we can run on green, the better our car will work, as you can tell. We just need some green.
They need some green flag racing down here in the Mark Martin pit.
Well, they're getting some of it now, Benny. And he is doing a great job coming up through the field and putting a lap here on the car number 44 of Bobby Labonte, who started on the pole.
Heavy traffic now in front of Kyle Petty, who is our leader. And that is the car number 63 of Chuck Bound, who was one of the lead cars early on. And now they'll make it 3 wide as Robert Presley on the outside, Bound in the middle. It's a Bound sandwich, and they still slide up as Robert Presley just gets a little wiggle and wobble there out of turns 3 and 4. And Kyle Petty makes it 5.
Yes, it wasn't long ago that Chuck Bound was leading this race, Jerry. Now he's a lap down.
That sort of shows you what can happen on a short track when you really get the car hooked up. And now Michael Waltrip has got his car riding on a rail. He moves inside of Dale Earnhardt to take the second spot away.
And he did that with relative ease. Michael started back, as we said earlier, in the 28th position. Now worked his way all the way up to second.
This is the car that Michael Waltrip has had so much success with, the Ronnie Silver prepared car on the short tracks. The car that sat on the pole and won Indianapolis a year ago. The car that won earlier this year from the pole at Richmond. And it is certainly a great effort here today. There's the man they're chasing, the Ames Department Store Pontiac. The Jerry Kennan prepared car from 29-year-old Kyle Petty. Reminiscent a little bit of Kyle's dominance at Rockingham early in the year when they ran the radial tires. They are not on radials here at Bristol. They will be on the bias ply tire. But Kyle and Jerry Kennan and the crew really had that Pontiac hooked up.
It is hooked up, running on what is a slick racetrack, but the track is really coming in now that sealer is beginning to work for them, I think.
Let's show you the interval back to the second place car, which would be the Michael Waltrip car. And there's the battle for third spot there. The car number 3 of Earnhardt's car beginning to slip and slide, but he is the third place car. Ottinger in the car number 2 is in 4th. And the car number 1 of Mark Martin is in 5th. Now Earnhardt's car beginning to drift a little bit.
Yes, it is sliding up the racetrack a little bit. Mark Martin has come from about a straightaway down to those 2 cars and has caught them. He's running in the 5th position at the moment. L.D. Ottinger is shown in 4th place, and Earnhardt in 3rd.
Earnhardt and the rest of the leaders have yet to make their pit stop. They will need to make a pit stop. You cannot run 250 laps here. It's over 133 miles without a fuel stop at Bristol International Raceway. Kyle Petty showing the way here in the Ames Department Store Pontiac as the fans really smile and enjoy the beautiful weather. Stay tuned.
What makes a Quaker State engine so tough? One tough motor oil. And being tough takes more than just talking tough. There's a brand that says it's been engineered for smaller engines. Well, Quaker State has been tested tough for small engines in Japan, in Europe, and in America. In fact, Quaker State has toughed out the most demanding specs for every size engine in every size car sold in the U.S. What makes any size Quaker State engine so tough? Quality engineered Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
The Ford Thunderbird. A perfect car for a nice Sunday drive.
Now get 6.9 financing for up to 48 months or $1,500 cash bonus on Ford Thunderbird.
You know it's hard to beat Craftsman quality, no matter how much ground you have to cover.
Like this Craftsman 12 horsepower tractor with Briggs & Stratton industrial engine, now just $999.
And there's only one place to get it, Sears.
Ooh, yeah. You lift me up, you take me higher, you got me reaching for the top, you got the power, I know together.
Introducing the all-new DR and street legal dual sport models from Suzuki.
There aren't any fax machines or PCs to help you at this job. And your career path is largely determined by the mood of your horse. So why would anyone choose to work up here in the mountains? Maybe it's the fringe benefits.
Back at Bristol International Raceway, moments ago, the caution coming out when Kyle Petty tags the left rear of Tommy Houston. Houston's car is Buick spinning, and he will slam the wall in turns 1 and 2. Really coming into hard contact. Houston high in the point standings, and he was not a happy camper, Ned.
No, he wasn't. During a caution, he caught up to Kyle Petty going into turn 3, and you can see he gives him a little bit of a nudge there. They make it 3 deep. However, they are under caution, but Tommy Houston was not happy about the lick that Kyle Petty gave him.
And later on, we've gone back to green flag racing. Now in front straightaway, there is Michael Waltrip and Kyle Petty, the car number 30 and 42, and they slam the wall. Michael Waltrip will spin his car number 30. Kyle comes off the wall and is able to continue on. Then 1 lap later here, just coming out of turn 2, Michael Waltrip's car begins to slip and slide on the outside and contacts the concrete wall nearly head-on. The car is sawed in half by that concrete barrier there. One of the most spectacular and violent crashes I have ever seen, Ned Jarrett.
Jerry, I've been involved in auto racing for more than 30 years, and I don't remember ever seeing a car torn up this much.
The safety crews had run over to the car. Likewise, older brother Darrell Waltrip was there. Let's check with Benny Parsons.
Thank you very much, Jerry Punch. Darrell, what an unbelievable crash that your little brother Michael had.
Just praise God, Benny, he's alive. I was standing looking right at it, and I couldn't move. I mean, I just froze. I never seen anything like that in my life. The car just disintegrated, and I knew he was in it. And I thought he was hurt. But I walked up there, and the car is gone, everything's gone, and the roll cage is all bowed up. I looked at him, he looked up at me and winked. So, Mom, Dad, he's a Waltrip. He's got a pretty hard head.
And I'll tell you what, a testimony to the way these automobiles are built.
Certainly, Ned, of course, this Banjo Matthews car put together for Ronnie Silver a few years ago. The roll cage was intact, and there is Michael Waltrip now standing up, climbing out from around that shredded, mangled mass of sheet metal that was a Pontiac Grand Prix just a few moments ago. Michael now walking over to try to get into the safety car. And take a look at this, Ned.
There's nothing left of the automobile, and yet the man has walked away from it. However, he has been taken to the infield hospital, but look, they're just picking the car up by pieces.
Well, Benny Parsons standing outside the infield care center where they have been checking Michael Waltrip over. Let's go down to Benny Parsons and see just exactly how Michael's feeling.
Folks, you're going to have to let us move.
Mikey?
Yeah, Ben, I think I'm all right. Got some contusions and a little bit of confusion, but that's probably not too unusual. Can't really tell you what happened. I know that we got spun out earlier and then was passing Robert Presley on the outside, best I remember, and he ran us up into the wall. But tell Mom and Dad Daddy's not doing too good either, but I think I'm all right, and we'll go home and get a good night's rest tonight and try to figure out somebody to help us get through those 500 laps tomorrow.
Well, you need to rest up because, baby, let me tell you, you ain't going to believe the pictures you're going to see when you see that.
Yeah, hope we did a good job for Kool-Aid anyway. That's our first race.
Well, Jerry, he's got to be okay. He gets his sponsor's name in there.
They're fixing up that gate where Michael hit over there. Let's take a look one more time and give that Kool-Aid man on the hood of that Pontiac a wild ride. Now, just coming out of turn 2, that's the crossover gate, and Michael hits the juncture of the gate and the concrete wall that begins the back straightaway. The car is literally sawed open, and you see the steering wheel now sticking out to the left side of the car. And this is what's left of Michael Waltrip's Kool-Aid Country Time Pontiac. Michael Waltrip lucky here, a great race car, and he is waving to the crowd, headed to the infield hospital. We'll be back after this.
If you love cars, you'll love Auto Week, the news weekly of motoring. Every week, Auto Week puts you inside the world's most exciting cars. GTs, sports sedans, collector cars, 4x4s, front drivers. Auto Week makes you an insider with industry news, personality profiles, old cars, columnists, the best classified anywhere. And nobody covers racing like Auto Week. You get the fastest coverage of Formula One, sports cars, stockers, Indy cars. It's all in Auto Week, the news weekly of motoring every week. Call 1-800-554-3000 to get a full year of Auto Week at our special discount price. Just $19.95 for 52 issues, only 38 cents a week. You'll save 80% off the newsstand price. Call 1-800-554-3000. Let Auto Week put you in the driver's seat every week.
And we welcome you back to Bristol International Raceway. There's the top 5. L.D. Ottinger showing the way. Dale Jarrett now moving into second spot. Dale Earnhardt, Kyle Petty, and Martin Martin being shown in 5th spot. As you look through 6 through 10, the dramatic sequence of events just a moment ago as Michael Waltrip's car literally sawed in half, and Michael has been flown to a nearby hospital. Hopefully be back tomorrow for the Valleydale Meets 500. There's been a repair made to the guardrail in turn 2, and we're back underway. Green flag flies here at Bristol International Raceway, and the veteran from Newport, Tennessee, L.D. Ottinger showing the way.
Dale Jarrett running in second place. They get by the lap car of Tom Peck.
Out of 3-car length separation there. Jarrett having made an early pit stop. He was involved in a chicane there out of turn 3 when Jeff Burton had tagged the wall and had to come in for an unscheduled stop and change a tire. Now he's made his way all the way back up toward the front. Let's go back inside the Ames department store in-car camera. That's the Kyle Petty car. Kyle currently in 4th spot. He is trying to work the rear deck of the Chevrolet of Dale Earnhardt.
Now, Kyle at one time was a dominant force in this race, Jerry, but having been involved in a couple of skirmishes, now trying to take over third from Dale Earnhardt. You see, he tried it high, then tried on the inside, still hasn't been able to make the pass.
Now, Dale Earnhardt is trying to get by the lap car of Tom Peck, and Peck has run very, very well. Was lapped early from an unscheduled stop, and now Michael Waltrip, you see the side of that Chevrolet trying to move inside, but while Waltrip's on the bottom of the racetrack, one car moving alongside him to take the spot is the car number 1 of Mark Martin.
Martin made a pit stop. Of course, that's Kyle Petty in car number 42, and he loses that position to Mark Martin, as Martin, with new tires on that Ford, was able to move by on the outside while Kyle was trying to pass in Earnhardt on the inside.
So Kyle Petty in the car number 42. They're having trying to get by. Now he gets a run off of turn 2 and will make a move inside of Martin Martin. And Kyle Petty really getting that car dialed back in. Again jumps back in the throttle, moves by Martin, trying to hang on, but the car gets a little bit loose. And here goes Martin Martin on the outside.
Boy, he's been in several fender benders already here today, but he's still driving very aggressively, and there he goes back around Mark Martin. As Earnhardt gets to contend with before he can even think about Dale Jarrett and L.D. Ottinger.
Kyle Petty a moment ago able to see that Michael Waltrip, his good buddy, was okay as Michael was being carried down pit road there to the helicopter. Michael gave him the thumbs up and said, "I'm all right," but now Kyle trying to hang on. He may not be okay. He's got a fistful of race car behind him there. That's the Ford Thunderbird of Mark Martin. Now Kyle tries to make a move and will make a move inside of Dale Earnhardt.
Boy, what a run he got off of turn 4 and down the front straightaway to make that pass on Earnhardt. Now Mark Martin trying to move around Earnhardt. Earnhardt's car going very high in the turns.
Dale Earnhardt has a lot of strength on the straightaway, but the car really drifting up in the corners. He can keep it down here in turn 1, but the car drifting up in turn 2, and now Mark Martin will move inside of him. Trouble on the front straightaway. Clifford Allison and Robert Presley have come together and tagged, and Robert Presley trying to get his car refired. As Ottinger comes by, that's the lead car, and Presley trying to get back around.
And I think he would be allowed to do that because they were past the start-finish line, and Ottinger had taken the yellow flag.
195 laps complete here in the 250, which will comprise the Budweiser 250. The veteran L.D. Ottinger showing the way. Stay tuned. We got plenty of action left after this.
I'm not going to chain myself to a nuclear power plant, but I do care about the environment. So I stopped using chemicals around the garden, switched to Ringer. Ringer Lawn Restore makes my lawn look thicker, greener, naturally healthy. And Ringer Attack pesticides control bugs biologically, not chemically. With Ringer, my lawn looks better, and I feel better.
Daddy, is it safe to plant the grass?
Sure. Much better.
Ringer Natural Lawn and Garden Products. Better for everything that grows, including people.
Kenny Schrader here to tell you about my latest discovery, Mother's California Gold.
Hey, that's mine. Take it from me, folks, Rusty Wallace. I discovered Mother's car wax products first.
This is Davey Allison telling you Mother's makes the best car wax and great wheel cleaner. I just discovered.
No way.
You guys seen my Mother's California Gold?
Nope.
Been using it for years. Now someone's gone and took it. If you want a clean car, you've got to trust your Mother's.
You know, it's hard to beat Craftsman quality, no matter how much ground you have to cover.
Like this Craftsman 12-horsepower tractor with Briggs & Stratton industrial engine, now just $999.
And there's only one place to get it, Sears.
Back at Bristol International Raceway, 212 laps are complete here of the Budweiser 250. The top 5. There are 5 cars in the lead lap, and you're looking at them led by the veteran L.D. Ottinger. We are under green here, and there is Ottinger about a car length and a half in front of the charging Dale Jarrett. Jarrett, who had an unscheduled stop early on, is challenged all the way from shotgun on the field to now charge for the lead. Here, Ottinger holds him off by a car length as they head for turn 1.
He's beating Ottinger in turns 3 and 4, Jared. Not too much difference in those two cars in turns 1 and 2. In fact, Ottinger might beat Dale just a little bit, but let's watch him when he goes into turn 3 and see how Jarrett picks up on him. Ottinger backs off, and Jarrett runs right up on his back bumper. But now whether he can make a pass that way or not, don't know.
Let's check in with Benny Parsons in the pit.
We mentioned a moment ago that Dale Earnhardt made a pit stop, changed 4 tires, and opened the stagger up a little bit to loosen the car up. Obviously, that was the wrong way because Earnhardt has fallen back. He's almost a third of a lap behind the front-running L.D. Ottinger.
So there's Ottinger, the lead car. They work slower traffic. 250 laps comprise this Budweiser 250, the Busch Grand National Series event, the 7th stop here on the 31-race $4 million tour. So it is Ottinger and Jarrett, the front 2 cars. And there is Earnhardt, the car now in turn 3. He had moved back into 4th spot, but since he has been passed by Mark Martin, and he sits in 5th spot, the last car on the lead lap.
And Benny Parsons mentioned Earnhardt changing tires, Jared. They are permitted to change tires here today. He changed 4 tires during the caution period, and that is unusual in the Busch Grand National Series. Normally they can't change tires on the short track during a caution period, but because the track was green, because of the sealer that was put on, they didn't get any practice yesterday, so NASCAR did waive the tire rule.
L.D. Ottinger, a hometowner of sorts from Newport, Tennessee, showing the way, 51-year-old veteran. Detroit Gaskets Pontiac. Now let's go inside the Ames Department Store in-car Pontiac of Kyle Petty. And you see the leaders just in front of Kyle Petty now as they go in the 36-degree banking. That camera is not tilting, folks. That is the 36-degree, 3-story banking they climb here at Bristol International Raceway. Out of the race, Elton Sawyer, Rick Wilson, some of the other drivers. Tommy Houston had a tough day. Michael Waltrip, you saw that violent crash, and Clifford Allison, the latest car to retire. Kyle Petty being shown in the 3rd position. His car running very, very well, but it looks like that Ottinger and Jarrett are able to hold their own.
Yeah, I don't think Kyle's gaining too much on them. As they race each other, it might give them an opportunity to pick up a little bit, but they're coming up on some traffic now. We'll see how much effect that might have. Jarrett had a notion there to try to move on the inside of Ottinger, but he saw Ottinger move around the 5 car on the outside, and so that did not give Jarrett the opening that he thought was going to be there for a moment.
Heavy traffic now in front of Ottinger. That is the Steve Grissom car, number 31, the Big Mama Meat Snacks car. They roll by to the outside in turn 3, setting their sights now on Robert Presley. Literally no time to relax at all here at this racetrack. Even the banking all the way around. Speeds, I mean, outstanding efforts in qualifying here for the Winston Cup cars. These cars really did not get a chance to qualify because of the rain the past couple of days. They started according to driver points. Ottinger coming off his best finish of the year a week ago at Darlington, having finished 4th. And there's Kyle Petty. Now, he is beginning to reel them in a little bit. And I think Ottinger probably is being very careful in this traffic.
Well, he is, and he needs to be. He's fighting for the national championship, where Dale Jarrett and Kyle Petty are not quite as concerned about points as L.D. Ottinger would be. But certainly on this racetrack, it's been very slippery today. But, Jerry, what a contrast that we're seeing now as opposed to earlier in the race when they couldn't run high on the racetrack, and now they're lapping the cars, passing them on the outside with relative ease.
Inside the Pontiac, the Ames Department Store Pontiac with Kyle Petty currently showing in third spot. That's the car that Kyle ran earlier in the year at Richmond, set on the outside pole. This car finished second at Rockingham to Dale Earnhardt. That's the race you saw here on ESPN. And the car in front of him there is the five-time national champion, Jack Ingram. Ingram is not in the lead lap, and Kyle moving in on him. You see that glare in the window? Boy, the sun really gets to be a problem here late in the afternoon.
Yes, it does. During the break for Michael Walker's wreck, they allowed him to put some tape on the windshield of the cars to help that situation. Jerry, it looks like now Kyle Petty might be gaining a little bit on the front runner.
Well, there is no traffic now separating Kyle from second place car, Dale Jarrett. And Jarrett has dropped back about 3 or 4 car lengths. And we'll look at the windshield and see what Kyle was looking at. You see the difference there. There's Jarrett, and there comes Kyle Petty into turn 1. Red, white, numeral car number 42 of Kyle Petty. They're the lead cars. L.D. Ottinger and Dale Jarrett. Ottinger in the car number 2, showing the way here.
Only about 20 laps to go.
Laps winding down. Ottinger has 11 starts at this racetrack. There is L.D. Ottinger, the leader. Let's check the interval back between Ottinger. There's Dale Jarrett, second place. And let's check back to Kyle Petty. 1.5 seconds. Kyle closing now. Second and a half behind the leader, Ottinger. We'll keep you abreast of the interval here. It was 1.9 seconds, then 1.5, and we'll check it again as they come by. There's the veteran Ottinger coming out of turn 4, crosses the stripe. The clock's on Kyle. 1.5 again, but a lot of traffic now for Kyle Petty, having to go through some lap traffic. Now he's got some clean racetrack. Let's see if Kyle can reel him in as the laps wind down.
But the leaders are coming up on some heavy traffic, Jerry. We've seen them in traffic here for the last 8 or 10 laps, but they're really coming up on some heavy traffic now, including Tommy Ellis. So he didn't gain into that lap when he had a clean track.
Still 1.5, but Ottinger's car beginning to slip a little bit when he came out of turn 4. He was wagging that steering wheel back inside the cockpit of the car. Now it's a smooth lap for Ottinger out of turn 4. Dale Jarrett is about a car length back, 1.2. So yes, Kyle Petty is on the move. Laps winding down. 15 laps to go here at Bristol International Raceway for this Budweiser 250. Dale Jarrett's got to be getting ready to make his move, and I guess L.D. Ottinger, he may know Kyle is coming. Now it's 1.1 second, but I'm sure Ottinger knows Kyle is coming. The crews have told him that he's got to be more concerned about the man who's
here's
right
Jarrett
on his rear
going
bump.
by on the inside of L.D. Ottinger going into turn 3. They are in very heavy traffic over there. Ottinger got boxed in. Jarrett got through on the inside and made a pass for the lead, but here comes Ottinger back on the inside going into turn 1, and they touch. And let's see, can they pull it out? Ottinger got on the inside of Jarrett and touched him, but what a great driving job by both of those drivers. Now Jarrett coming back up and said, hey, I didn't like that too well.
Ottinger back up front. This will help Kyle Petty. Now he is only about 4 car lengths back as these two guys have really been mixing it up here
and
at Bristol
International Raceway. Bump right there.
Raceway.
Jarrett bumps Ottinger a little bit, tries to move on the inside as they go into turn 3. This is where Jarrett has been gaining on him. He gets down on the inside once again, but can't make the pass. Boy, what racing we got here at Bristol today.
Couple of car lengths separating the front 2 cars, and now here is Kyle Petty in to make it a 3-way battle. Kyle takes the Pontiac, trying to go to the bottom of the racetrack. Dale Jarrett's car in the middle groove there in turns 3 and 4.
It'll be 10 laps to go. This time by, it was 10 laps to go.
Let's take a look at what happened just moments ago here as they were really mixing it up. Dale Jarrett was leading and Ottinger was on the inside, Ned.
Yeah, Dale made a good move really to get the lead, and Ottinger went into turn 1. He decided he wanted the lead back and went in a little bit hard. They tangled. It's a miracle they didn't spin out.
Dale Jarrett did a great job to keep that car from spinning, as did Ottinger, and now those 3 cars, 1, 2, 3. Ottinger showing the way. Dale Jarrett in second spot. Kyle Petty sitting back there watching and waiting as laps are winding down. 8 laps to go, that time by.
Okay, as we look out Kyle Petty's windshield, you can see a lot of traffic that they're coming up on. That was traffic a moment ago when Dale Jarrett made that pass, and they're coming up on Bobby Labonte, who is running in the 9th position. He's the Busch Grand National point leader, about to go 2 laps down. He's already 1 lap down. Ottinger moves up on Labonte.
Taking a look at it from Kyle Petty's viewpoint, got a big shot of the rear of that Crunch Pontiac for Dale Jarrett. It has been a slugfest throughout the afternoon, and who will be left standing? Well, laps are winding down. It'll be 5 to go next time by. Ottinger trying to hang on to get his first career win of the 1990 season.
And look at Kyle Petty. He got a run off of turn 2 on Jarrett going into turn 3. Kyle down on the inside. Jarrett trying to get under the car number 2, and he couldn't do it of LD Ottinger, but Kyle has to back off, so Jarrett hangs on to second.
Now heavy traffic, and you're taking a look at some of the glare. It's 5 laps to go. Now there's Kyle Petty moving around one of the lap cars.
Now what's going to happen here? LD Ottinger behind the car 96. Well, that car 96 has been running good. That's Tom Peck, so he moves around that car number 25, okay? 26.
That was the 7th place car. Tom Peck is now lap winding down, and Ottinger now moves in on the car number 56 of Ronald Cooper, moves to the inside of Cooper.
And here's Jarrett trying to move on the outside. Here comes Kyle Petty on the inside of Jarrett, but Kyle Petty was cut off by Jarrett going into the turn as Jarrett dipped under the Ronald Cooper car. Boy, I'm telling you, they were doing some driving, Jarrett.
Kyle just on the brakes to keep them running. We got trouble over in turn 3. In the wall hard is the Mark Martin car number 1. Martin's car now still coming, still running back around, and we have a yellow flag. Caution flag being shown, hard impact.
And just a couple of laps to go, so this race could end under caution, and LD Ottinger would win it.
Let's take a look at what happened. There's Joe Nemechek, car number 87 on the outside. Mark Martin was the 4th place car chasing the pack, and he comes into contact there with Nemechek. His car now bowing to the right and slamming the outside retaining wall. That's a pretty tough lift.
Yes, it was. It sounded like the tire just let go and shot him right straight up into the wall. He hit it pretty hard.
White flag now being displayed in the field. We are under caution here for the hard impact of Mark Martin in the wall in turn 3. Caution being shown in the field. And the white flag being waved. Final lap here in the Pontiac safety car. Dale Jarrett had actually pulled around LD Ottinger when the caution came out, trying to race back to the caution flag, but it looks like Ottinger was the car back to the flag first. So this time by, LD Ottinger will take the checkered flag and pick up his first win of the 1990 season.
Well, he has driven a whale of a race here this afternoon, and he had his hands full this last 30 laps.
A partisan crowd on their feet here waving to Newport, Tennessee driver LD Ottinger, who takes the win. LD Ottinger, 2-time series champion, picks up his 3rd win on Busch Series racing here over the years in front of the hometown fans. A great run for Ottinger in the Detroit Gaskets car. So the Budweiser 250 is complete, and there's the car that won, LD Ottinger. We'll take a look at the top 10. Dale Jarrett finishes 2nd, Kyle Petty, Mark Martin, Dale Earnhardt, and the remaining 10.
They got the green flag at Daytona, roared through Talladega, left Darlington in the dust. And which car piled up the most tough NASCAR miles in '89? The Quaker State King Racing Buick, its engine getting maximum protection from one tough motor oil. The same Quaker State you buy right off the shelf. Only one car was tough enough to stack up NASCAR's highest mileage total. Only one oil was tough enough to tough it out every single one of those miles. Quaker State. The big Q is one tough motor oil.
You know, it's hard to beat Craftsman quality, no matter how much ground you have to cover.
Like this Craftsman 12-horsepower tractor with Briggs & Stratton industrial engine, now just $999.
And there's only one place to get it, Sears.
It has been an action-packed race here at Bristol International Raceway. As you look at the top 10 finishers in the day's Budweiser 250 Busch Grand National Series event. Today's Speed World coverage has been brought to you by Busch Beer, the beer with a taste as smooth as its name. By Eagle One Premium Car Care Products. And by Quaker State. The big Q is one tough motor oil. Well, veteran LD Ottinger picking up his first win since October a year ago. Let's go down to the Sears Road Handler Winner's Circle interview with Benny Parsons.
Thank you very much, Jerry Punch. LD, what an exciting race.
Was that a race? I tell you what, I was tickled to death. You know, those guys, I like to race like that. You know, Detroit Gasket, Ron Parker, Oldsmobile has a fine race car today. Mike builds a good motor finally. You know, Goodyear, we didn't have a flat tire today. Everything worked well for us, and we're here. I know we could do it. I tell you what, I love it.
This is your home track, right?
Yes, you know, I've won a lot of races at Bristol. I've won some 400-lap races. You know, we have a lot of fans here. All my people from home are here. CB's here, the guy who used to help me get back in this division. I love him too, and I tell you what, Ron Parker and these people, they believe in me, so we're here.
Hometown boy does good, Jerry.
L.D. Ottinger winning here in the picturesque mountains of East Tennessee, Bristol International Raceway. As what an afternoon here of racing. Remember, tomorrow at 1 p.m., the Slugfest continues here in the Valley Dale Meets 500. Ottinger takes the win. For Benny Parsons and Ned Jarrett, I'm Jerry Punch saying so long. And remember, tomorrow at 1 o'clock, it continues right here in Thunder Valley. So long, everybody.